So, majority of our money problems I beg your pardon, majority of our problems as human beings are somewhat money problems. If you have enough money, more than you can ever think of. Have you wondered why they say sometimes, I don't know, but I think it's true, that when people relocate, when they japa, they tend to stop going to church, or maybe just reduce how much they go to church, or things that they do in Nigeria that is part of their life, When they eventually relocate out of the country, they tend to stop doing most of them. Have you wondered why? What you would deduce, if you critically think about it, is that most of the things they fast and pray for here, most of the things they worry about here, the moment they get into an environment where those things are relatively easy to get. So you want to buy a house, you can easily take a mortgage. You want to eat, food is not that expensive. You can pay, you can find a kind of accommodation that is reasonable, and then people. So life is sort of settled in quotes. See, they don't see a reason for God anymore. So you see now that sometimes the reason a lot of people go to church and pray and fast and do Father Shego, is because they need money. It's because they need money. And it's not a bad thing to do, right? It's okay to like money. It's okay. Money makes everything go round, right? There is nothing you want to do in this world right now that you won't do with money. That's the truth. There is absolutely nothing you need in the world today that you won't need money to do. So if that be the case, then we'll be self-deceptive if we say money is not important. And that's why we're going to be talking about money this morning. Okay? So I encourage you, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, comment, whatever it is, so that people can see this video. Thank you so much. Okay? So yeah, money. So what dimension are we picking this from this morning? Now I was thinking about the story of Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was called on by the king to interpret a dream. The king had a dream. Nobody could interpret the dream. And then they called on this guy who has been in prison, who had interpreted the dream for someone, and then the dream came to pass. And they said, okay, let's try him out. And they did try him out. And he told the king, he shared the interpretation of the dream to be that, first off, there's going to be 7 years of plenty. And after 7 years of plenty, there's going to come 7 years of famine. First, 7 years of plenty. And then 7 years of what? Of famine. I imagine the king is a Christian, or maybe the king is like you. And I wonder, my God is a good God now. Bible says that he will provide for my needs, supply all my needs according to his riches and glory. Yes. So the king will probably call all the elders of the land, all the spiritual people, and say what? We need to form a 24-hour prayer chain. We need to start casting and binding and rebuking these 7 years of famine. That we will never have 7 years of famine in this land. Our kingdom is going to enjoy plenty. He could have done that. And in one dimension, he probably would not have been wrong. He won't have been wrong. Because of course he's king. But what did this king do? He took the words of Joseph, and then they went on to save during the years of plenty, so that when the years of famine comes around, they will have enough in their storehouse. The reason sometimes we don't have enough and we cry of lack is because we wasted the opportunities we had when we had enough. It's because we probably did not manage our funds well when we had surplus. And everybody has had surplus at some point or the other. You had a period where you had enough money that you needed. You had enough money that you needed. The key to financial sustenance is management. It's management. In fact, look at what happened in Genesis chapter number 2, when God had created the world. He had done everything he needed to do. And then he said, in verse 6 that he did not cause rain to fall on the earth. Why? Because there was no man that was going to till the soil if rain fell. So the rain falling would have been a waste of time, waste of resources for God, because there was no human being to manage what He's created. The word there was cultivate. Cultivate means to grow. When you grow something, you multiply it. So management in the real sense of it is taking the little resource you have and ensuring that it is sufficient for you, not just for now, but also for the time when you will not have enough. Is somebody listening to me this morning? So you know in your heart now that, oh, as you are talking, I can tell, I recall this period where I had plenty of money. But now, it looks like things are not working well. And you know that you mismanaged the little you had. Because even provision to you is a litmus test of your capacity for greater provision. So the tiny little thing you have in your hand that you are mismanaging is telling God that when He gives you so much in your hand, you will not manage it well. And God doesn't waste resources. He would rather go to someone who has the capacity to multiply the little He gives him. That's why the parable of talents shows that the one that had one and thought the master was a thief and went to hide it in the soil, when the master came, he retrieved it from him and gave it to the one who had many. I mean, thinking about it logically, you say, but he didn't waste his money now. But he sure kept it for him. When he came back, he gave him his 1 naira. But the truth was, 1 naira wasn't 1 naira anymore. Inflation must have happened. Think about it. So you did not give back your master 1 naira. What you did was give your master less than 1 naira. So in essence, in the reality of the situation, he wasted money. So the reason sometimes a lot of people do not enjoy persistent provision is because the provision you had in the past, you did not manage it well. You didn't manage it well. I know what I'm saying. So management is critical to your sustenance. And in today's world where nothing is assured, today dollar is 1 naira, tomorrow dollar is 2 naira, the following day dollar is 20 naira, and then just keeps going. You never can tell what's going to happen the next minute. What you must do that is within your power, your capacity, your control, is to ensure that the little you have, you manage it well. Because if the king did not hear the words or accept the words of Joseph, and then they did what? In the 7 years of plenty, they decided to eat and enjoy themselves and party and spend all they can or all they could. When the 7 years of famine came in, they wouldn't have had anything to eat, not to sell to those who didn't have. I recall this story, I heard many years ago of a farmer somewhere in around Kebbi State or something. I'm not sure if that happened in Kebbi State, but then I was in the north when I heard the story. And then he said the man planted, was it beans or something? And he said God told him to store the beans, store so much, store capacity that could last a year or two. And he was wondering, why would I be storing beans? We have beans in abundance. Beans is cheap. And 1 year down the line, well, the man obeyed. Just like Noah, he went ahead, he stored the beans, he built barns, stored the beans. And 1 year down the line, beans became extremely scarce. It became scarce commodity. Was so scarce that people were looking for beans here and there. And guess who had beans to sell? Guess who enjoyed his own breakthrough at that period? I mean, they had been comfortable, yeah, he just had enough. But because he obeyed the instructions, just like the king obeyed Joseph and stored away a portion of their produce, this man had so much in his storehouse to sell that was the beginning of his major financial breakthrough. And I'm not going to talk about the dimension of his obedience today. The dimension I'm talking about is the principle of saving, because it is what you save that will save you. So if, like The king, the man too, did what? He saved aside when he got the instruction to save. Let's assume he did not save. Let's just assume he didn't save. He would have been running helter-skelter because he was a beans farmer. He had to sell beans too. And that period there was famine. Beans were not being planted, or it was not germinating, or whatever the case was. But he did obey instructions. He saved the little he had, and that was the key to his breakthrough. That was the key to his breakthrough. God did not cause rain to fall because there was no man to manage the garden. There was no man. There was no man to till the soil. There was no man to do anything. So God is looking for managers, people who have the capacity to manage his resources. People who have the capacity to manage God's resources. So the quality of your life today is greatly dependent on how well you can manage the resources you have in your hands. How well you can manage the resources, the gifts, the talent, the financial resources that God has given unto you. How much? We have people who, you go to a shop to buy something and they tell you this thing is 100 naira and you just pay and you go. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, no. But imagine someone else goes to the same shop and prices the stuff, he says it's 100 naira and he says, oh, but let me pay 80 naira. And say, no, you can't. Let me pay 80 naira. And then they drag it back and forth. Eventually, they agree to pay 80 naira and then the person leaves. The same product, one bought for 100 naira, the other bought for 80 naira. One saved 20 naira. Imagine how many places this person would have saved money and how much more he would have as disposable funds to use to procure more things, as against the person who, they just mentioned this thing is 5 naira, just buy and go. I'm not saying you should not tell people, of course that's not what I'm saying this morning. The point I'm making is you have to cultivate that saving mindset. Wherever you can cut excesses, cut it. There's a difference between a want and a need. You must understand the difference and stay on the dimension, on the frequency of meeting your needs always, but not meeting your wants always. A lot of times, because we have money in our account or you have cash in your hands, anytime you see anything that looks good, you buy. The moment it just looks good like this, you buy. I'm not saying don't buy, especially the ladies, Compulsive buying is not such a good thing. It doesn't help you save. It doesn't help you save. And you're listening to me this morning, you know that the reason you are where you are is because you use the whole of your 10 fingers to eat when you had the chance. You were hopeful, you were optimistic that God will do this one or do the next one. I know that God will do it. He will. But he will do more for the person who has the capacity to save and manage than for you who eats with the whole of your 10 fingers. I know, I'm telling you, I'm a testimony of that. If 90% of your income will not solve the whole of your problem, the 100% that you made will not still solve that problem. So wisdom should tell you to save 10% aside if you want to, or just save something aside. What you do by saving money aside is you are building your muscle, your financial muscle, your discipline. Because the way you save when you have little is the same way you save when you have much. If you think the reason you are not saving is because you are not earning enough, the day you begin to earn enough, you will still not save. Because there's a law called the Parkinson's law. Your expenses will always rise to the level of your income. So if you earn 100,000 naira today, and you think, the money is small, you don't have enough to save, the day you begin to earn 500,000 naira, the money will still not be enough because your expenses will rise to the level of that income. And the day you begin to earn 1 million naira a month, your expenses will also rise to because you're living in a one-room apartment before, you suddenly think, okay, I have money now, this thing is not befitting. If my colleagues come to look for me, would they see me or find me living in one room, sharing bathroom and toilet? Then you go do what? You rent a 2-bedroom flat. And then your salary increases again, or your business grows bigger again. And you think, I don't like this area. They make noise a lot. There's this woman always shouting in my compound. You get up and then you go to one fine estate, and go and invest millions of naira and get in an apartment there. And you keep on elevating your lifestyle until is somebody listening to me this morning? So each time your income increases, try as much as you can, even if it's just for 6 months, to make your expenditure remain at the same level. You will not die if you don't buy that Ashwebi. You won't die if you don't buy that new phone. You won't die if you don't upgrade your car. You won't die. There is a difference, a fundamental yet significant difference between a want and a need. A need is something that if you don't have it, you will die. Life will become unbearable for you. A want is something that if you don't have it, nothing will happen. The only difference may be that people will laugh at you. I see your mates, they use Bentley, you, they use Volkswagen, something like that. But a car is a car. I say to people, it is better for you to have money than for people to know that you have money. It's better you have money and you keep it. Let the money be breathing in your account, on your savings, in your fixed deposit, or whatever it is on your investment, than for you to let people know that you have money. Because people will not come and bill you if they think you don't have money. Think about it. Have you seen someone who is dressed in a funny way? It looks like he has not even eaten this morning. And then you know you're hungry too, and you go to him and say, please come and buy food for me. He probably will not do that. You go to the person who looks okay, who is coming out from a very nice ride, because you think he has money. You think he has money. You are not sure he has money or not. But it looks like it. And I agree, yes, you have to dress the part, and be responsible and dress presentable, because you'll be addressed the way you're dressed and all those things. Fine. But ensure that you have something somewhere that you can fall back on if things don't go on well. Financial advisors will tell you that when you have a job, ensure you have saved aside at least 6 months of your salary somewhere, so that if peradventure you lose that job, for the next 6 months, when you can look for another job or maybe acquire a new skill to get a better job or something, you will still be able to sustain yourself. But somebody will say, but the one that I'm earning is not even enough to live. See, I'll say it in the words of somebody who was wise and said, if you say that the reason you are spending all that you have is because what you are having, what you are earning is not enough, it is proof that your wisdom pipe is blocked. And I said earlier, if 90% of your income cannot solve your problems, then 100% of that income also will not solve the problem. So wisdom should tell you to keep something aside. Keep something aside. Have money that you cannot touch. It even gives you confidence. It boosts your esteem. You know you have money. Yes, you may not be driving the best cars or eating at the finest restaurants or having a lavish wedding or sending your kids to the best school in town. But that confidence is there that if anything happens, you are protected. And scripture says that money is a defense. Money is a defense. Meaning, the more money you have, the stronger your defense. So your boss cannot just wake up and talk to you anyhow. You can stand up and leave. I didn't say you should leave. I'm just saying, you are not swayed by... imagine your boss asks you to do something that is unethical, something that is absolutely wrong, something that will probably, if found out, lead you to prison. If you don't have an option, you will stay there and do it. Why? Because your life is in his hands. So if for the 2, 3, 4, 5 years you've been working in that place, you've been putting something aside, no matter how little, even if it's 1%, every month, every week, you put something aside and you save it. You save it to invest it if possible. The day something happens, I recall the story of a guy who that he was working for a multinational, and then the company shut down and left the country. In fact, I was at a conference yesterday, and I was listening to Naija Brand Chick when she was talking, and she said she was, in fact, similar story. She also worked with a multinational. I'm sure you can go up online and search for who Naija Brand Chick is. She had a 9 to 5. The business she does now was a side hustle for her. It was just something she did. It was a hobby. She just liked it because her children, she wanted them to eat healthy food. Her life was good. And then she said the company started, making changes. She was working in the administrative departments, HR. And then she was beginning to give people sack letter. The company doesn't need your service anymore. It's time for you to go. The company doesn't need your service anymore. It's time for you to go. So she knew that very thing to become her turn. And guess what? It became her turn. The company gave her a letter, asked her to go. So it doesn't matter the quality of your job. You can be let go of. No human being is indispensable. In fact, the wisdom should be in you, knowing how long you want to spend there, what you want to do there, and when it is time, carry your bag and go. Don't let someone ask you to go before you know it's time for you to go. Is somebody listening to me this morning? Or you may not have the strength to do such a thing if everything you've earned, you've spent. If every little money you earn, you spend, you won't have such capacity. You go get that kind of liver. Because you what? You spent everything. So you are living from hand to mouth, waiting for 30th of the month or 31st of the month. And if it's just 1st of the following month, they've not paid you, you suddenly enter depression because you don't even have transport fare to come to work. Am I saying that what you have is enough? I understand the reality of the economy. I understand the reality of where we are. What I'm saying is you can cut your coat according to your material, the clothes available to you, and live where your money can afford. Put your kids in the school that you can afford. You don't have to behave like the Joneses. You are not the Joneses. You don't know if their father left for them a trust fund that is financing their lives. Never you compare your lives with other people. You don't know their story. We don't know their story. It reminds me of one of my favorite films of all time, 3 Idiots. There were 3 guys. I hope I can remember their names now. Rastogi, yes, Raju, Rancho, and the third one now. I can't remember the third one's name. And then they were friends. They thought they were in the same category. They dressed alike. They behaved alike foolishly. And one day the principal called them, or maybe it was the proprietor of the school, just called them to the office and told 2 of them and told them, see, this guy that you are comparing yourself with, you better desist from comparing yourself with him and know what you're doing with your life. Because for you, your father earns $2,500 every month. For you, the second one, your father earns $25,000 every month. And that's the $2,500, in fact, serious reason to be worried. The $25,000, major reason to be worried. And you guys are comparing yourself to someone whose father earns £225 million, I beg your pardon, every month. That was when they had sense like, oh, wow. So sometimes you don't know people have backup. They have backing. There's something working for them. Then you're comparing yourself to them. You are supposed to sit down and strategize your own life and do what? Save as much as you can save. You know what saving even does for you? The day an opportunity to invest comes in, it is only the people that are fluid, people who have cash at hand that can invest. That's the truth. It's only people who have cash at hand that can invest. I met a lady yesterday and she was saying, she needed 100 million for investment in a factory. And guess what? Someone right there was discussing and said, okay, you know what? I don't have 100 million, but I have 40. Can I put 40 in this thing? And let me find 1 or 2 other people that will put 20 and 40 or something, 25. And they had the opportunity to invest in such a thriving business because they were fluid. They won't have been fluid if they spent all they had. They won't have. Is somebody getting me this morning? What I've come here to tell you this Sunday morning is to save your future by saving your present. It's better to be rich 10 years from now than for you to be rich now. In fact, as you grow, the aim is for you to get wealthier. And each year when you check your account is way better than last year. And then come 2025, when you check your account, it's way better than 2024. And 2026 is way better than 2025. And the only way you can ensure that is to save something aside and invest that little you've saved aside. As was done, as Joseph advised, they kept a lot of what they had when there was 7 years of abundance. And when it was 7 years of famine, they had so much to eat, they had so much to sell to other communities. Genesis 2 says, God did not cause rain to fall on the earth because there was no man to cultivate the earth. The reason you may not be having exactly the level of blessings you want is because you do not have the capacity to cultivate that thing. So God is trusting on you to increase your capacity to manage what He has given you already. What you save is what will save you. Am I saying miracles don't happen? Of course, miracles no dey tire Jesus. Miracles do happen. But do you want to live your life by miracle? Every day you want to eat, you sit down and say, Father, please, I need food, I'm hungry. I've said it before on this show, one of our conversations, you can go up on YouTube and listen again. Said, each time God performs a miracle, what He does is teach you a principle so you can replicate that miracle and make it a lifestyle so that you can replicate it. It teaches you how it is done so you can replicate it. It teaches you how it is done. So if every time you need a particular thing, you go back to God, this thing I wanted, God, this thing I wanted, how will you feel if you have a child and you've taught the child how to fish, how to cook, or how to do something, and every time the child is hungry, it comes back to you? Gets it right? So, again, the quality of your life is greatly dependent on how well you can manage yourself, manage your resources, manage your time, manage your business, manage your friendships, manage your relationships, manage your money, manage everything that you have, because everything you have is a seed. So you either squander it or you plant it. And I pray God will help you in Jesus' name.